Hi everyone, Megan Sheehy here. As happens most years, FIBA is implementing some new rules that will come into effect from the 1st of October 2024. These new rule changes will be implemented into our domestic competition, both juniors and seniors, at KBI from the start of the summer season 2024. There are four major rule changes that we will be implementing into our domestic competition. They are correctable errors. There are a number of different new scenarios that we are able to correct if an error happens. The second one is in relation to advancing the ball in the last 2 minutes of the game or an overtime period, and the ability for a team in certain scenarios to choose which side of the floor they would like to advance the ball to. The third is a new signal in relation to a player who gets fouled in the act of shooting and then passes the ball off afterwards. And the final one is in regards to a player who fakes a foul and there is illegal contact on the same play. So we now have the ability to have both fake and a foul on the same play. So I will break those four rules down for you and talk you through a couple of scenarios to try and assist with understanding the new rule changes that will be coming into play. So there have been a number of additional correctable errors that have been added that we are able to correct in different situations. That is directing the wrong player to attempt a free throw or free throws, reporting a foul against the wrong player or coach or team, and other scorekeeping errors such as failing to award points or recording points that didn't happen, failing to record a foul or against the wrong player or team, failing to record timeouts or against the wrong team as well, and then other game clock scoring errors or clock errors such as malfunctions, the game not stopping and not starting correctly, and being able to adjust the game clock accordingly. If we direct the wrong player to attempt a free throw, the free throw attempts are cancelled, and then we put the correct player to take the replacement free throws. The game then resumes as if it would after any last free throw, unless the game has continued and was stopped for the correction of the error, in which case it will just be resumed from the nearest place to where it was stopped to correct the error. We also now have the ability by rule to correctly adjust the game clock with the correct time or deduct time as necessary if scorers fail to start or stop the clock. It is just important that we identify this early and get the right outcome with our partner. So there are now some timing provisions that need to be followed in order to correct errors in a timely manner or in accordance with the rules. So if the error occurs before the game clock shows 2 minutes or less in the fourth quarter or an overtime period, the error must be corrected before the 2 minutes or less mark remaining on the game clock. If the error occurs when the game clock shows 2 minutes or more in the fourth quarter, but the referee stopped the game for the first time with less than 2 minutes remaining, they must correct the error before the ball becomes live again after that error. If we go back to the previous ruling with correctable errors and play phases, so when the ball was live, dead, and then live again, this applies at the end of the game, so the error can no longer be correctable if the ball is dead and the siren goes to the end of the game, unless it is in the final play phase. So the error happens the last time before the game was stopped, we are able to correct that. However, it must be immediately before the end of the game, and both teams shall remain on the court. Correcting the error is also the responsible of all teams, players, and referees. They have the responsibility to make sure any score discrepancies are picked up immediately or as quickly as possible and brought to the referee's attention. The second category of correctable errors is in relation to the shot clock and whether it is incorrectly reset or not reset. So in order for this to be applicable, the error must be identified by the referees when the ball is live immediately after the error, and the referee stops the game when that team is in control or either entitled to the ball. So for example, the ball's gone out of bounds or there is a foul, we would then be able to correct the shot clock to the correct time. And the criteria for when we are no longer able to correct the shot clock and the error has to be disregarded is if there's a change of possession of a live ball after the error, so the other team get the ball, the team in control of the ball scores a valid field goal, it would just be disregarded, or if the ball becomes dead when the game clock sounds for the end of the game. There is a change to advancing the ball in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter or second half for a domestic level or in an overtime period following a timeout taken by the team entitled to the ball. So if the coach decides to advance the ball after a successful field goal or last free throw, they will get to decide whether the ball goes in on the score table side or the opposite side at the throwing line at the top of the 3-point line. If the head coach decides to resume the game and advance the ball after a sideline or end line play in the backcourt that's from a foul or a violation, the throw-in shall take place in the front court on the same side that it was originally designated from the foul or violation, so they won't get the choice on that play as to which side the ball comes in. We have an additional referee signal, so when a player is fouled in the act of shooting, but then decides to pass the ball, this is now considered not a foul in the act of shooting. So we do this pass-off signal just to clarify the situation immediately at the point of contact, so as we call the foul, to demonstrate that the player is no longer in the act of shooting as they have passed the ball. And finally, the last rule change is in relation to being able to have a fake and a foul on the same play. So previously, if we had a foul, we were not also able to administer a fake warning. However, we now are able to do this. Now, this applies to both an offensive player and a defensive player. So we could have a foul and a player throws their head back to exaggerate the contact. So even though they've been fouled, we can also administer them with a fake warning for trying to trick us into calling a foul. This applies as well to the defense. So if a player is theatrical and exaggerated in their movements, and in the process they also trip or impede the progress of the offensive play, and we had a blocking foul, for example, we could still call a block and a fake on the same action.